Days of Wine and Chocolate, presented by Wineries of Niagara-On-The-Lake, have arrived. The wineries made chocolatey creations with a signature wine to pair. Our first stop was Reif Winery. Andrea, what is the Days of Wine and Chocolate?
Well, it's an amazing touring pass program where customers or guests can come and visit wineries and not only taste great wines, but also taste amazing food pairings. And the theme throughout the program for the month of February for weekends is that everything is made with chocolate.
If people want to visit more than one winery, how can they do so?
So you can go to up to 25 wineries for pairings, but you definitely do not have to do that all in one day. So the idea is that you can use the pass and share it with friends. You could, visit a few, 5, 6 one day and then use it the next day or even the next weekend. So it's very flexible and it gives you something great excuse to get out into wine country for the entire month.
So what are you pairing here at Reif Estate?
So we have our Semillon. You can see it in the background. It is a 2016 vintage, and it is absolutely fabulous in the sense that it's just that little hint of oak, not too much. It's got some nice body. It's a great winter wine. It's a very limited edition wine as well. We just actually have only 4 rows of Semillon planted here on the farm, and we have it paired with a ravioli. But the ravioli, of course, is stuffed with white chocolate and parsnips, so there is that chocolate theme, and then we've done a brown butter sauce with a little bit of truffle on top, and it's quite divine. It's prepared by a local food purveyor. There's a brand new cafe in Niagara Falls called Live at Cafe 54, and Olivia Malika has prepared the raviolis for us specially, and we do tweak the recipe. It's just very, we do a sample, we see how it pairs with the wine, and that's what's really neat about the experience. It's not just about the wine, it's about how things work together.
I understand Queenston Mile Winery has become a relatively new winery here in Niagara-on-the-Lake. Can you tell us about the history of this winery?
So really, this winery is the brainchild and kind of the heart child of our sister property in Jordan, which is Creekside Wines. And the same ownership have actually been farming this land, these vineyards, for more than 20 years, and our winemaker has been in this soil. So Rob Power, who's that winemaker, I think there was just a passion play to use the grapes that we have here. Traditionally in the past, I think we'd used a little bit for blend at Creekside, but most of it was sold off, most of the juice. And it's beautiful juice. And St. David's, where we are, is a couple degrees hotter than anywhere else in the Niagara Peninsula, and it has a real effect on what grows and how it goes together. But also the grape varietals are different. So at Creekside, where we really focus on Sauvignon Blanc and Syrah, here it is Chardonnays and Pinot Noir, which really speak to sparkling wine. So part of the pet project, or the excitement for us, is that Queenston Mile really focuses on these beautiful sparkling wines. And one of them is the rosé that we're doing on this program with the Days of Wine and Chocolate. In my experience of 20 plus years of chefing in Niagara, the passport programs really generate an interest well beyond the event. So we'll see people who come in, maybe they're in a lover's mood, they're motivated by chocolate or with sparkling wine or whatever it is. They get out, they have a lovely day, but it goes in their mind and they say, you know what, this would be an amazing spot to come and have a meal in the summer months, or why don't we bring our friends here when they come from so-and-so. And so I find that it's really amazing, and particularly as a new winery, to be on that roster of great and established wineries, to get people in and visiting, and you get to kind of take a piece of that crowd and make them your own, which is really exciting.
Thank you, Chef Ross, for answering my questions. I'm just going to come back there and see what you have created for us today.
Beautiful. Chocolate sells itself. It's amazing to be able to just put it together. And one of the things that we always want to do in Niagara is celebrate something that has come from our beautiful summer months. And so all chefs around, and certainly we do it here at Queenston Mile, we preserve stuff that's come from the growing season. So I have lovely strawberries that we've put down in a sugar syrup, just waiting for this type of event. a little bit of white chocolate ganache, which is really just cream and white chocolate, and then some house-made vanilla sponge. And we're going to build a simple trifle. It's as easy as it gets. And then when you have it with our Queenston Mile sparkling, I think you'll find that this sparkling rosé and the strawberries particularly, and a bit of the white chocolate, it really lifts up. So I'm just going to simply layer it here. We'll do 2 at a time, maybe. So a little bit of strawberry on the bottom, just to fill the coupe. And the great thing about preserving fresh fruit in a nice sugar syrup is that the syrup becomes a syrup. A couple pieces of our sponge cake, and then we go straight into a little bit of this white chocolate ganache. So again, it's just melted white chocolate with a little bit of lemon zest and a little bit of cream that keeps it liquid. And that's got a nice rich body that's going to play off both the sponge as well as the strawberries. And then you kind of do it again.
So how did you come up with this pairing?
Well, I love all things sparkling wine, and I love all things chocolate. So I just sort of said to myself, I partly wanted to go a little bit with the color. So strawberry really plays on the rosé notes of the wine, but white chocolate is also really sort of understated, and something that I just think really goes nicely with sparkling wine.
Why did you choose to do a sweet pairing rather than perhaps a salty or savory dish?
Well, I think that partly it's, you asked me earlier about our involvement in other passport programs, and there's so many that speak to a savory note, and it was just nice to kind of change it up, I think, for our guests who like to come and enjoy all of these weekends. So I thought I'd stand out a little bit and do something sweet, which does go well with sparkling as well. It, particularly with the rosé, there's a little bit of residual sugar in this sparkling wine, so it's not totally bone dry, and it really plays well with the strawberries. So cheers.
Cheers.
Enjoy.
Well, it's interesting when we look back at the history of Wineries of Niagara-On-The-Lake as an organization that is a really collective group of wineries that work together to market the region and the winemaking appellation. We really were created out of the need to drive winter visitation. So 20, 30 years ago, there really wasn't the idea to go into wine country. We just finished Ice Wine Festival, and this is just another part of making a great time in one country in winter and letting people know that we're open. So it's really critical for us in terms of year-round visitation, and it's a great time to showcase some exceptional wines, some wines that are not always open for tasting, and with some food pairings that aren't normally available.
Congratulations on becoming chair of Wineries of Niagara-on-the-Lake. Can you tell us a little bit about your position and the history of the organization?
Sure. It's a really exciting organization, and I've been involved now, it's hard to believe, for about 19 years. So I'm coming up on 19 years here at Reif Estate, and I've always sat on the committee. I've always loved the collaboration that we have as an industry, and that's what's so exciting and interesting about it is, even though, as you mentioned, we are obviously competing as friendly competitors to stand out from each other, but we're also having that cooperation to work together to, to rise all of our members up to a good place. So we call it co-opetition. So it's a really neat group. As you know, it's about 25 members now. Originally started probably about 30 years ago. It was called the Group of Seven, and it was founded by 7 wineries who understood that we need to make sure people know we're open, and how can we drive visitation in the shoulder season. And that's really been the key reason for our existence for many, many years, like going on 30 years. But interestingly, in the last 3 years, we've started to evolve, and we've decided to have more conversations with consumers and guests about what makes this such a great winemaking region. So not just about wintertime, not just about events, but also what is so special about our soils, what makes us different. I mean, we're essentially in the birthplace of Canadian winemaking.
Days of Wine and Chocolate run every weekend in February. For more information on participating wineries and pairings, be sure to visit their website. If today's pairings spark your sweet tooth, you're not going to want to miss this. In Niagara-on-the-Lake, reporting for The Source, I'm Kennedy Reynolds.